DROP is a framework that stands for Deliberate Reflective Ongoing Practice. The creation of DROP really starts with this guy, a professor named K. Anders Ericcson. He created a methodology called deliberate practice after studying people like Larry Bird, Mozart, and Tiger Woods. He asked himself if their success was due to some innate talent or if there was something they did to grow to this superior form of expertise and performance. What he discovered was that they developed expertise by taking deliberate, small steps towards their practice. Now, some of you may have read the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. Gladwell essentially tried to boil Erickson's work down into this 10,000-hour rule, but it's so much more than that. The real point Ericcson wanted to get across is that it's about a lifelong period of deliberate effort to improve performance. Ericcson further notes that doctors who've practiced for 20 years are actually no better than doctors who've been practicing for only 5 years if they feel they've reached a level of acceptable performance. In fact, those who believe their skills are good enough and go on autopilot are actually worse performers. So we know deliberate practice is crucial, but how do we actually learn all these new skills and habits? A mere 10% of your overall learning comes from a classroom setting. 20% of your learning comes from others, like a mentor or a teammate showing you how to do something for the first time. Which means that 70% of your overall learning happens by yourself. This can leave learners feeling lost and overwhelmed. This is where DROP comes in. It's going to help you work through that 70% of learning quicker by providing a structured, repeatable practice. DROP is both a science and an art. The science is rooted in something we call myelin. Myelin is an insulator in your brain, and the more a neural pathway is insulated by this myelin, the more quickly accessible the information at the end of that pathway is to you in your decision making. This is the science behind habit building. If you do something deliberately over and over again, it's going to make it easier for your brain to access that information. Take driving home, for example, a route you travel often, so this neural pathway is full of myelin. Eventually, you move to a new home and one day realize you've pulled into the driveway at your old address without even thinking about it. That's because myelin hasn't built up around your new route yet. The art side of DROP is something Pariveda adapted called the learning edge. If you look at task difficulty and task competency, over time you can address more and more difficult tasks as you learn. The problem is you could take on too difficult of a task when you're not competent enough yet, and that's going to push you into the red anxiety zone. This is not the ideal place to learn or where you can expect your team members to learn. The opposite end of the spectrum is that you're already competent in a task and it's not that difficult. Now you're bored. This is where you're operating almost completely on autopilot, which is also not an environment for learning. What the learning edge shows us is just beyond competency. Push yourself just beyond your comfort zone and challenge yourself in small enough segments where you can learn and grow without anxiety or boredom. So, what makes a DROP successful? There are 4 crucial criteria. First is conscious focus. We characterize this by intention and attention. You need to know what you want to practice and how you want to practice it. There also needs to be an aspect of personal commitment and desire to work on this area. Next is repetition. This is where myelin comes in. You can't build up that myelin without repetitive practice. Coaching and feedback is also critical. How are you going to know if you're improving on a DROP if you don't get feedback on it? This can be from both teammates or self-directed feedback. Lastly, it has to be integrated into your work. If you're thoughtful in how you integrate that DROP into your daily work, it's not going to feel like something separate or additional. It needs to be something you can find ways to practice on a day-to-day basis. There are also several supporting behaviors that need to be present in order for DROP to be successful. Let's say you want to learn how to play the guitar. Learning a new instrument is a big goal that needs to be broken down into steps. First, you'll need to learn how to hold the instrument. Maybe you decide to watch a YouTube video on how to do that because you enjoy to learn this way. After success with this method, you enroll in an online course for guitar beginners and commit to spend 30 minutes on this course every day. As you work through this course, your skills are improving and you can do things like read music notes and play chords. You also have a friend who's played guitar for years, so you ask to play with them once a month to keep yourself accountable and get feedback from someone who's more experienced in this area. Once you complete the online course, you continue to use that 30-minute time slot each day to practice and learn new songs. Because of your consistent and repeatable drop, you can now play the guitar like a pro. And remember, drop is unique to the individual and no two drops should look the same. It's all about what is going to work best for you. Drop is a simple yet powerful tool that will have a ripple effect across your learning journey.